from Atlanta, Georgia, back in 2020 to originally to Tanzania, and now live in South Africa. But I felt the tension then. The 2016 election for a lot of us was a shocker, but today, 2024. I don't feel that level of anxiety anymore. I don't feel that level of stress. And it's because I made a decision and I did what I needed to do to live in a country that was in alignment with my values, right? And so many of you are feeling this. You realize you are in a country that doesn't align with your values and you want a way out. But many of you are concerned that you'll be able to do this because the main concern that I hear everyone sharing is around finances. So on this live stream, I'm going to share with you how you can financially prepare to take action on being able to live a life that you desire instead of settling for a life that you are stuck with, right? Just living a life that you settled for. That was what I was going for. So come on in. Welcome to the live stream. And let me know where you're joining from, right? Let me know where you're joining from. I want to greet you in the chat. I'm on. Hi, welcome. Welcome, Aphrodisiac. Absolutely. I'm here to support you, but I need you guys to recognize that finances or fear should not be the reason that you settle for the life that you have. And instead, you get to live the life you desire. And whether that's abroad, here on the continent of Africa, South Africa, wherever that is, I want to be able to support you with some financial planning tools. Okay. The elections are causing turmoil. A lot of you guys, if you're feeling anxious, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. I want to know where we're feeling. I want to know how you're feeling on a level of 1 to 10, right? 10 is I am extremely stressed out and I don't know what to do, versus 1, I'm tapped out. I don't really care anyway, or the other. Let me know. Put a 1 to 10 in the chat. I want to test everyone's temperature. Katina Cooper says 1. Fantastic. Good for you, sis. Let me know over here on YouTube. Be sure to like the stream, guys. If you're finding value in this, share this with someone. 1, I feel 3. Moni B says a 3. Let me know how you're feeling. I want to know how you're feeling in the chat. You feel blessed. 0. Fantastic. All right. Wonderful. So it's got to, there's some turmoil. I mean, they just announced the Grammy nominations literally like yesterday. So if you notice this, right, living outside of America, I've noticed a lot of the ways they kind of keep people from taking action on a thing that they feel. Not to say that no one needs to, move on, because life absolutely does go on. But when you decide that you want to do something different, don't get distracted by the noise that tells you that the way that you feel doesn't matter, right? So if you are, like somebody says that they are watching sports, right? There's a ton of things that the Western media does to distract you from the desires that you truly have. And I'm here to support you if you decide that you want to move abroad, because you're deciding that I no longer want to feel like I'm having to fight the good fight that my ancestors fought for 500-600 years, right? I decided back in 2020 that I wanted to live where I was treated best, because I had experienced that was not something that I was going to get to live in my country. As a child of the 80s, I had a great childhood for the most part. I was able to get, free education. I was able to get, a lot of government support. And that is not the case for our children, for those that grew up in the 80s, right? It's just not that way. And essentially, I decided that I knew that I needed to do something differently for my children. And so I had gone through a lot of different financial ups and downs, but ultimately I was a saver, right? So I was not one of the people that left the continent of Africa with $5,000 and crossed my fingers. Okay. And I don't necessarily recommend that you do that either. I recommend planning. right? And depending on how long you feel you have, I just want to give you some tools so that you can essentially be successful. Because what I also don't want you to do is to sell all of your things and dip and find yourself having to go back and struggle. Because this is a life where we get to be treated better, right? But we have to financially prepare. Okay. And that's just what it is, right? So the number one thing is I want you to align your finances with the vision of freedom and stability. Okay. Because so many of us are coming from this place of lack and I don't know how I can do it without money. So I want you to recognize that if a desire was placed in your heart, it is already yours. God wouldn't place a desire there unless for it to be fulfilled. So recognize that that desire is there for a reason and that it is now you must take action to align your finances with that vision. There is going to be sacrifice involved. Okay. So I was able to prepare financially through just my behaviors before, but I took a good 6 months and I stacked all that I could. Now I was, in a time of 2020 where there were a lot of flexibilities. But essentially there were some things that I had to sacrifice. That looked like sacrificing Uber Eats when I had food in the fridge. That looked like not purchasing the snacks and the things that were processed that I already knew were affecting my physical and mental health, right? So if you're living in the US, you already know that the food that you're eating is killing you. You already know, you see all of the statistics, but you're addicted to the McDonald's, you're addicted to the Frosted Flakes, you're addicted to the fruit snacks, you're addicted to the Coca-Cola. Stop drinking it, cut it out, not only for your physical body, your mental health, your spiritual wellness, and ultimately your bank account. These are small things, but they are acts of sacrifice that you will be rewarded with later on. Okay. So cutting out these Amazon orders, right? I was a person that had Amazon by my house 2-3 times a week. Okay. So I get it, but these are sacrifices that we're making, not for scarcity, but for basically a better lifestyle. This is not about surviving, but this is about focusing on thriving in a new market. Jasmine says she's addicted to Stony. I feel you, sis. I love Stony. But when you're in South Africa, when you've achieved the life that you want, it's a bit different. But tell yourself that you're trustworthy. If there is something that you know is not good for you, that you know is eating at your financial center, that is a waste, and you know it's not good for you, show yourself that you're trustworthy by cutting it out. Because the truth is, a lot of us, right? This is a whole nother conversation. We don't take action on our goals because we don't believe we can achieve them. We don't do things because of what we're afraid of. It's not that we think we're holding ourselves back. It's who we think we're not. We don't really think we're capable. We don't really trust ourselves because we've told ourselves we were going to do this 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And now that the election has happened, we're not really sure if we can trust ourselves to act on our passion, right? How many of us have made promises to ourselves in the past? I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to save up for the trip. I'm going to leave the relationship. I'm going to leave this job that is stressing me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 months ago. Y'all don't want to talk about that, right? I get it. But I'm getting to you because this is a big decision. This is a life-changing decision. And your inner self, your future self needs to trust you. So we need to cut out expenses that are not serving us. And this is, again, not about surviving, but thriving in a new environment. All right. So making sure that you're spending your finances with your values and aligning them with your values is number one. Now, this is a whole mindset conversation that we're going to talk about in the Travel, Move, Do Business, because I really want people to recognize that their action or their inaction is a reflection of how they've acted in the past, right? Fear is something that is holding a lot of us back from the life that we desire. And it's also connected with our finances because of the stories that we've told ourselves. Nothing worth having is easy, or, it takes hard work. It doesn't. It takes a decision. Okay. But these are going to be some of the mindset conversations we have in the Travel, Move, Do Business virtual conference. The next thing is budgeting and banking. All right. So a realistic relocation budget is essentially going to be 3 to 6 months of your current living expenses. So how much are you spending right now every single month? It is important that you know that. So we're going to go through this a little bit more deeply in the Travel, Move, Do Business. I have a hack that I'm going to be sharing with people. I've created an AI bot that I'm going to share with everyone for them to type in their income, their lifestyle expenses, and for it to calculate exactly how much money they need to save for the first year of what they can expect to spend in their first year in their new home country of South Africa. So you need to know your budget. And if you're coming to the Travel, Move, Do Business virtual conference, I'm going to walk through with people what they're going to need. So I'm going to work with 3 people specifically live and in person to be able to get them their freedom number, which is essentially how much money you're going to need to be able to live comfortably in your new country of South Africa. Okay, because I live here now. So I've been here going on 2 years. I know exactly what it looks like to live a very soft life in South Africa, which is a third of what I used to spend living in Atlanta, Georgia back in 2020. Probably like a fourth now, given inflation, but a fourth. And I have way more luxuries than I had living in Brookhaven, Georgia, spending over $10,000 a month. All right. So know your number. What are you spending every single month? That's food, that's rent, that's healthcare, that's gas, that's entertainment, all of that. I want to know what that number is, and I'll be able to work with you live at the Travel, Move, Do Business virtual conference to help you understand how much money you're going to need. And then in a separate session, I'm going to teach you how you can start to add income to your household to speed up the pace of you being able to build that income even after you leave the US and move abroad. All right. But it's really important. I need you to know how much money you're making and how much money you're spending. All right. The next thing is navigating currency exchange, right? So I'll share some apps with you. Go ahead. Google is a great app, and you can Google some free apps to be able to see what the current Rand to dollar exchange rate is. So the South African Rand is the currency. I don't have any cash on me right now, but it's all Black everything. Okay. Nelson Mandela is on all of the money, all of the dollar bills, or not dollar bills, but the Rand bills, the paper money. And currently the dollar is trading very strong to the Rand. So if you're coming from the US, Canada, the UK, pound, euro, dollar, Canadian dollar is very strong for the South African Rand. So you can live a very good quality life on less than what you're living in your current home country. Now, this is a bit controversial. Many of you ended up finding me because I shared the quality of life, cost of living reel over on Instagram. And it got a couple people in an uproar. But the reality is we've got to be responsible with that currency exchange. But the reality is it is there, right? So we get to go where we're treated best. We get to go where we're treated best. And essentially that dollar, pound, euro to Rand ratio for now is strong. Now, if you watch any of my other content, you'll see I believe that BRICS Plus is the most powerful economic group, the most influential economic group in our history. And that just means things are going to change. But for now, the country is still the way it is. The dollar still holds a weight that it has. And likely with the election of Donald Trump, it's essentially going to slow down that pace, which is good for Americans globally, right? Regardless of how you feel, when you look at policy, you look at the relationship that Donald Trump had geopolitically in comparison to, President Biden, foreign policy is going to look completely different under the Trump administration for Americans internationally. So there isn't a better time than now to consider making your move abroad and to doing that with actionable steps and a support of a community and experts that can support you along the way. Listen, I've been on the continent for 4 years now, and I spent a lot of time, a lot of money, made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. And so you'll be able to avoid a lot of the mistakes and a lot of that money by coming to the virtual conference for South Africa, Travel, Move, Do Business. I've gathered all of my friends from the real South Africa that helped me to travel here for the first time. My business partner and trusted real estate attorney, Yulinda Lebisi Cousins, who's actually on the live now. From my other friends that are supporting people, including myself, with immigration support, IBN Immigration Solutions. So I've gathered this group of people. It would have cost you tens of thousands of dollars probably to make these relationships and thousands of hours of time that you're going to be saving by joining us on the conference. But more than anything, you're now joining a community of support of people that are going to be able to support your journey along the way, which is something that I didn't have, right? And that I'm giving you by joining the conference. For people that join premium access, you'll get contact lists as well as access to the replays for a year. So you don't have to worry about missing the summit or essentially taking all of the notes, because the value is really in the repetition. So that's a whole nother story. But yes, Zara, thank you so much. We need more likes. Thank you, Zara. There should be at least 50 likes on this video because I'm giving you guys so much value. And if you like this content, please just like it. It's free, and share it with someone else who needs to know this, needs to get this information. All right. So the next thing is, so we're going to be talking about the realistic relocation budget. I'll be working with someone live during the summit to be able to help them. And we'll be talking about the cost for visas, housing, and business setup as well. So Yulinda will talk about that. She's on the live over here on Instagram. And then our immigration team, IBN Immigration, they'll be talking about the cost for visas. Join me later on a live. I'll be going live, I think, every day this week around this time. This is kind of late, but maybe hour before. And I'm going to talk about the brand new visa for digital workers, right? And I'll talk to you about that, what the process is like, how much that costs, and what you need to get that set up. You can do all of this on your own and all of this for free. But as I said, I've been doing it on my own, and it cost me a lot of time and a lot of money. So always go with experts, invest in those that have done it, that know how to do it right. Save yourself the headache, save yourself the stress. Okay. So Liedrick says that's the only thing your husband is concerned about is setting up the business and career paths. Well, absolutely. You should join us. Join us on the Travel, Move, Do Business virtual conference. We're going to be talking about that, how to set up businesses, what kind of businesses are favorable for the South African government that are going to find you, working with government to support your journey. This is the other thing I want to talk about. Doing business in South Africa, it is something that is mind-blowing. One, because we're not worried about racism at the core. Coming from the US, regardless of what industry you're in, as a small business owner, as a founder, you were always a woman founder. You're always a minority founder. You're always, and I'm not saying that it's perfect. I'm not saying that women founders don't struggle here in South Africa, but I will say there is a clear advantage that comes with coming from the US, understanding innovation from the standpoint of what it looks like from doing business in the US, as well as solving the problems that have existed in the US that will support developing countries like South Africa, but all of the other countries on the continent as well. It's an entryway to the continent of Africa. Okay. And Yeah, so we're going to learn about that on the conference as well. Linda is going to cover the setting up costs, the structures, and all of that to make sure that you are protecting your wealth, but also taking advantage of tax benefits legally. All right. And so, yeah, the next thing is we need to be building financial security. All right. It's already clear in the US as Black Americans, the financial wealth metric is continuing to go to zero. Back in 2020, 2018, I knew this, that we were expected to go to zero as a cultural group. Black Africans' net worth, average net worth would be zero. We need to be focused on building financial security, building our income. And how we do that? Well, we are in one of the best times in our life, whether we believe it or not. We are in the digital age, in the creator economy, where we all can help people by sharing information that we've learned. And like I said, one of the benefits of coming from abroad is being able to take the insights that I learned in university, working in corporations, working in startups and small businesses, working in investor readiness, to now be able to share that insight as a thought leader, working with other founders, other small businesses, other SMEs, other creators, to helping them scale, right? So we'll also be talking about how you can learn how to add $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to your income by working remotely from anywhere on the continent, right? Even if it's not South Africa, but how you can leverage making dollars while you're living abroad. It's something that I've been doing. It's something that I've also been scaling since I've been on this side, essentially building a 6-figure business. My business hit 6 figures this year, right? And I didn't have this business before, and I didn't figure it out prior to this year. But I really want to help you and leverage your information, your knowledge, to be able to help people to essentially earn an income from anywhere in the world and live where you are treated best. Because in the US, it takes 6 figures to just live a normal lower middle class life, right? What if you don't even need to? So my business made 6 figures. I didn't take home 6 figures, right? I did not take home 6 figures, but I don't need 6 figures to live a great life here in South Africa, right? So figuring out what your freedom number is, I will do that with folks online, and I'm going to teach you how you can make money abroad, because I am not an advocate of remote working. I know many people are, and if you have an opportunity to do that, great. But remote working for any company is not going to give you the level of security that you ultimately want. You want freedom. We all want freedom. We all want more time to spend with our family. We all want more time to spend doing the things we love with the people that we love. And you only get that through entrepreneurship. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I am saying that it's worth it. Because going from working 60 hours a week in a 6-figure paying job to now working 5 to 10 hours while living in a country where I'm treated better than in my home country, while getting to be a full-time mom, that's the type of lifestyle that I never thought was possible, right? If I were living in the US. But it is something that I get to do now living in South Africa. All right. So those are the things that I want you to do. You need to know your income, right? You need to know what you're making every month, you're spending every month. What is your cost of living? And if you join me in the Travel Move Do Business virtual conference, I'll be able to tell you exactly what that number is for you to live for a full year in South Africa. But already know that because the desire is in your heart, you now have to align your vision with your finances and the way you're spending your money. So if you say you want to move abroad and you want to live abroad, stop spending money on the things that are not supportive of that vision. And only you know what they are, right? But you're gonna have to start doing that. And that's something that you can do today. Okay. And then the next thing is do your research on South Africa. As I mentioned, recognizing the opportunity to leverage South Africa's growing economy for the expansion of your business and the overall impact. Okay, you're going to get expert advice from the attorneys, from some other folks that have done it, right? That have been traveling here, decided to retire here. My good friend and big brother, Dr. Will Cobbs, is going to talk about his journey for those that are looking to retire. And then also we're going to talk about ways you can earn income without relying on a remote job. All right. So let me know if you have any questions. I know I said a lot, but money and fear should not be the reason why you decide to live a life that you've settled for, not a life that you ultimately desire. All right. Katina asked, why did I choose South Africa? So thank you to all that are congratulating me. I just did my numbers the other day. Actually, it was yesterday. And yeah, I was able to sit down and realize like, wow, I actually did 6 figures. 3 years ago, I did 6,000. I only made $6,000 in my business 3 years ago. So it's 3 years in the running, right? 3 years coming, but I was so committed to making it work. And I'm helping so many people, and that's the best part. So I'll teach you how to do that. But that's separate. We'll learn a little bit about that at the virtual conference. So why did I choose South Africa? Well, I originally moved to Tanzania in 2020. And I love Tanzania. I still do business in Tanzania. But as someone at the time, I took a sabbatical. So what many people are going to likely do after this election is just breathe, right? I did that in 2020 after getting laid off for the 3rd time in 5 years. I had, a 1.5-year-old. I was coming out of a relationship that was really stressful. And I essentially knew I needed to rest. And I took that time of 2020 to do exactly that. And I moved to Tanzania, and I didn't work for a year. I was clinically depressed, anxious, all of that. And essentially, I needed rest, and I restored myself eating natural food, spending time in nature, doing the things that I love, which was seeking adventure, grounding myself, just learning how to heal myself. And that's what I did for a year. When I got ready to go back to work, I decided that I wanted to be in a vibrant, competitive economy again. And so came to South Africa 10 months into that year, and I fell in love. And I saw everything that I saw in Atlanta, but it was on the continent of Africa. And I said, oh, that's it. That's it. I'm sold. I'm coming here. And I moved to South Africa 2 years later. So I love South Africa. I'm from South Africa, living in the US. We plan to move to South Africa in 3 years. There's no place like South Africa except for crime. So yeah, I mean, listen, when you're in the US, and I know your experience is different. I'm in South Africa currently, right? I have not experienced crime. Personally, I've been here for 2 years. There is news, and they do talk about the news, and they do talk about crime, but I haven't experienced crime, and I've been here for 2 years, and I have a plethora of friends that live here that have not experienced crime. I'm not denouncing or negating that there is crime. I'm just saying it has not been my experience. Epiphany says, am I in Cape Town? No, I'm currently in Johannesburg, but I do spend a lot of time in Cape Town. I have a business in Cape Town as well called Skyline Attorney Realtors. And I will be spending a lot more time in Cape Town coming 2025. Hey, Khalees, welcome. Yes, Joburg is amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Get those likes up. All right, let me come over on YouTube. Thank you, Zara. Thank you so much. Yes, this is amazing. Digital marketing business. Amazing. Perfect. 10K a month is absolutely possible and doable. So I'm rooting for you. My business is a virtual business. I essentially teach people, entrepreneurs and investors, how to safely invest and do business, as well as travel to the continent, to Tanzania and South Africa, right? So I do that with in-person events. I host tours, And I also host online virtual conferences. I also am the co-founder of Skyline Attorney Realtors, which is a luxury real estate attorney firm. And we work with successful entrepreneurs and investors to invest securely and safely by protecting their estates and maximizing their tax benefits. Yeah, so that's what I do. Thank you so much. I don't know if I should have even announced that. Just know I didn't net six figures, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much, so much. So if you enjoyed this live stream, go ahead and share it with someone else who finds value in it. And if you don't already have the link in the replay, go ahead and comment SA for South Africa to get the private link to join us next Saturday and Sunday, November 16th and the 17th, for the Travel, Move, Do Business virtual conference for South Africa. Travel, Move, Do Business, South Africa virtual conference. All right. So let me know if you have any other questions. CMB's Ocean View, you manufacture frozen premium cookie dough. Is there an opportunity to bring this to SA? Potentially. What does premium cookie dough mean? What does premium cookie dough mean? Does it mean it's better quality? Now, we do know that there are ingredients that are made, right, that are used in US foods that are not allowed abroad. So just knowing what that looks like, I think, is really important. But South Africans love cookie dough. Lisa says you bought land in Limpopo. What are my thoughts? Congratulations. I have not been to Limpopo, but I hear it's amazing. Yeah, I think so. I mean, cookies, so they don't call cookies cookies, they call cookies biscuits. The texture of biscuits is different than what we're used to. The texture of cookies, right, are different than what we're used to in the US. We're used to kind of gooey, hot, soft cookies. That's not necessarily the way they consume their biscuits here. So I think it would be really interesting maybe to taste test them, right? But I mean, I think that there's a great opportunity to do something like pop-ups and get people acclimated. Listen, American culture is something that translates across the world. Not all good, right? Not all bad either, but it could work. I'm not saying no, but I am saying it's really important to create businesses that are not specific to diasporans, expats, right? Because then you lock yourself in. And I see a lot of people do that and they struggle with their business. So making sure that you're creating a business that is for the majority of people in your new country is where you will thrive. People that create businesses and they specifically sell to diaspora struggle because as diaspora are reintegrating or integrating into culture, they may not do the things, right? So essentially there's Krispy Kreme here. They kill it. They do amazing. I don't eat Krispy Kreme because of sugar, right? But there's thousands of people that do, and they're doing just fine. So I think it would just take a little bit of market research on your side. But I absolutely think it could work. I absolutely think it could work. All right, fantastic, family. I don't see any more questions. Unless you have some questions, let me know. Let me go back through the comments. No, so I don't need a house sitter, but thank you so much. Nubian Mesa, thank you. From Hampton, GA. Yes, welcome. The gift giving part of Christmas is canceled. It absolutely should be. You know, this is another thing, right? If you are not in alignment with the values of the country you're currently living in, why are you contributing to the capitalism in the sense of the holidays, right? Because I know they just had Halloween. I know they've got Christmas decorations already up. Thanksgiving, you're gonna drop a good $1,000 on food just to feed people that you really don't want to see, right? So these are ways you could be cutting back by saying, you know what? I'm stacking my bread for my new life abroad. Because for $1,000 for one meal, you could essentially, that's like rent and groceries and somebody to come help you clean your house on the weekends. So $1,000, that's a lot. How much income do you need to live comfortably there? So we talked about this, right? We talked about this a little bit. You need to know me, I'm different, right? My number is not going to be your number. So it's really important to know how much money you're spending now. How much money are you spending now in your current household? And I'm going to teach you exactly how to take that number, multiply it so that you know what it's going to cost you to live for a full year. But the biggest thing is know how much you're spending, and are there any parts of that spending that can be cut out because it is not in alignment with the goal that you have of moving abroad. Taxes. So what's great is, as a person living abroad, as an American, yes, I am required to pay taxes, but I also get child tax credits and all the tax benefits of being an American and owning a business. So number one, I have a business. Tax benefits to doing that. I also will recommend that everyone that does decide to move abroad, open a business, right? Have an LLC, have a business bank account. That's very important. And for people that are filing for specific visas, it's necessary, right? And then the next thing is, currently, if you don't make more than $120,000, you don't have to pay taxes. And if you're living abroad. So making sure you have a tax accountant that is familiar with international or, tax law for people living abroad, or expat tax law, is very key. All right. And we also have someone, she won't be joining this virtual summit, but essentially you're able to benefit by living abroad. So if you're not making more than 120K, you don't have to pay taxes, but you do get the benefits, right? So if you have children, you still get tax benefits. I still get my child tax credit. All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for joining the live. It's a pleasure always to share. Listen, don't let fear or finances hold you back, but start today. Start cutting out things, start making sacrifices to tell yourself that you're trustworthy. If you say, I desire to live abroad and I'm going to do that, you need to match it with your actions and tell your future self that you're trustworthy. Because I promise you, it's not who you are that's holding you back. It's not who you are that's holding you back. It's who you think you aren't. Okay? And you are worthy of a life where you get to live where you're treated best. All right. So I appreciate all of you for joining the live. If you found value in this live, please feel free to share it. Right? Share it with someone who finds value in it, and subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and join us in the Travel Move Do Business Virtual Conference. Premium access holders will get to work one-on-one with me to secure your freedom number. And you'll get access to all of the replays, including some bonuses that I haven't announced yet. Go ahead to the website, see what other past attendees are saying. You will not regret it. All right. Until the next video, I'll see you soon.